Hey, what's up? This is Scott with Level Up Tuts, and today we're going to be going over blocks in Drupal. And this might not be the definitive tutorial on blocks, but it's going to get you started because blocks are something that you will be seeing all the time. They're something that takes up a ton of Drupal. So a block is a block of content. So in Drupal 7, if you hover over some items, you'll notice that they have this little gear with an arrow, and they get this dotted line when you hover over that. This sort of signifies a block. If you'll notice, this is a block, this is a block, this is a block. I don't know, this might not be a block, but yeah. So these things take up all sorts of real estate on Drupal, and they can be configured, moved around, and generally put anywhere you want. So first off, let's get into our blocks screen. This is under Structure, Blocks. And while I'm here, I'm going to add this to my shortcuts because I'm going to use this all the time. Okay, here you can see you can add a block here. If you just want to add a block and put some content in, you can just do that. Also, you'll notice that we have different regions. And these regions are different sections of our site in the structure of it. So there's the header, the help, whatever. Different themes are going to have different regions. You'll notice in the content is our main page content. Sidebar first is that search form. Actually, let's bring up our site in another tab. Localhost. Okay. Okay, so here's the search bar. And this says search form is in the sidebar first. If we move it down one underneath our navigation and our user login, we'll just leave it there and we'll click Save Blocks. If we do that, we'll refresh this page, you'll notice this is now below it. Let's say you don't want the search bar at all. You say, well, I just don't want it showing up. Also, I don't want this user login showing up. You can click the region, set it to none, set this to, well actually let's move this somewhere sort of funny. We'll move this to the header. And then, as you recall, there's this little powered by Drupal. I don't want that on my site either. As much as I love Drupal, I'm going to click this and I'm going to set this to none. I'm going to save this. Okay, we'll refresh our page and see what's happened. Powered by Drupal is gone. Our search bar is now up here in the header block, and our navigation is the only one left standing. Well, let's say you only want this navigation to show up on the front page here. Let's click into our article. This navigation's still here. You don't want it here. Okay, well that's really easy. So if we go to our navigation block right here, you'll see this configure. We can click configure, and this gives us our different themes that we have installed, and it's positioned in our different themes. And you can add this from here if you know where these regions are. You can also give it a block title. If you put a title in here, it's going to show up on the page. So this navigation, this is the block title. If we don't want that to show up, we can do less than, none, greater than. And then it's not going to have a title at all. It will just be add content. So we don't want this to show up on a certain page. We just want this to only show up on the front page. So if you come down here, show block on specific pages. All pages except those listed, or only the listed pages. Since we only want this to show up on the front page, we're just going to click only the listed pages. And if you notice here, it says front is the front page, but it has it surrounded by less than, front, greater than. Okay, now if we save this block, refresh our page, that block will no longer be there. If you notice the region, the entire sidebar doesn't even get created because there's no content in that sidebar. However, if we go to this page, our block is still here, and since we put none for the title, there's no title. Okay, well that's good, but let's say we want the opposite. We want this search bar to show up on only, let's say, only the projects page. Exclusively, the projects page will only have search. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but it's an example. Let's just use it. So, where is it? So we have our search form in our header. We're going to click configure. And under here, we want it to, well actually let's say this, we don't want it to show up on the projects page. So in here, you can just type projects and it's going to be looking at this URL path. So it's going to be saying if projects is here, then don't show it. And if we don't want it to show in any of the subpages of projects, like projects / whatever projects we're making, we're going to need to do projects / and then the star. And the star signifies pretty much anything beyond. They say it's a wildcard. So any sub file of projects is not going to show up either. So this is going to show up on all pages except projects and subpages of projects. To click save, we'll refresh projects and we should see the search bar go away. Okay? If we browse to our home page, there's a search bar, and if we browse to our about, our search bar is there as well. However, no longer for projects. So we're going to be dealing with blocks a lot. Once we get into views, we're going to be creating blocks there. We're going to be creating menu blocks. We're going to be creating all sorts of content and putting them in blocks and then telling where those blocks to go on our site. But for now, this is a good introduction of blocks, and it should give you a little bit more tools to play around with your site and get it looking how like you want it to look. Once again, this is Scott with Level Up Tuts, and thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please leave a comment or follow us on Twitter. Hit us up. It's @LevelUpTuts. Once again, thanks for watching. Bye.